How's it going, everybody? It's Lockhart here, and today we're going to be talking about War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I wanted to speak specifically about what if Final Fantasy IX finally came to WOTV, and I had a really hard time picking just 3 units to start off with. Honestly, I could have picked like 5, but I picked 3 just because I went with our main hero MC and 2 other supporting characters who I like a lot and I think would be kind of okay to have as well. So before that, I just wanted to go over some housekeeping. If you have not subscribed yet, please do like the videos as you guys do. I am looking to do a giveaway when I hit one of the milestones, whether it's going to be 1K views or 100K views or 1K subscribers. I would love to do a giveaway of Gunpla up there and to be able to celebrate that, because it would be a huge achievement for me, especially since I'm kind of really trying to navigate and do as much as I can day in and day out. So getting into it, we're gonna start off with as I kind of did last time in my Final Fantasy VIII video with just Squall. We're actually gonna take a look at 3 units that I have on screen today, and it's gonna be Zidane, Garnet, and Vivi. And I love Vivi just as a character, and I would love to have Garnet as well, because she is super OP here. Let's take a look at some of the skills that I think are most likely going to be in the game. So Stellar Circle, I think for sure. Super awesome attack. We're gonna take a look at free energy. Of course, I'm getting all of this footage from the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Okay, booster 8+. Probably a combo attack, I think. Any of his attacks should be multi-hit except for free energy so far, just for chaining purposes. Now we're going to take a look at Solution 9. Super cool. Okay, that's just an extra attack coming from Garnet's passive. Now we're going to take a look at his Mug ability, which he should have as a Thief class. That's just an extra attack. And this is his Limit Burst Grand Lethal. Any of his attacks could probably be Limit Burst, but going into trance, I think, makes the most sense for him to use. Okay, so we are going to showcase Garnet's attacks here. We're gonna go into this mode. So it's interesting because she actually dual wields 2 elements in this game. She does water and thunder. So that's her water attack, and that changes her base attacks. So her base attacks have changed a little bit into more water type damages, and then we're gonna do thunder. And then that'll change her base attacks as well. Interesting idea. So this is her EX skill, which is one of her other skills. This could be a Limit Burst as well in theory, but it's just a heal, gives a lot of buffs, which is really nice. Eternal Darkness, I think this is probably going to be her Limit Burst. So she summons Arc, and then Arc comes in, shoots his Mighty Fine Laser, and then gives her something of a follow-up attack, which would be super cool to have. We have so many units who already do that. So similar, I think it would be something like, what Astrius has, or what Noctis has, or even something that Lightning activates, where she will do an additional attack after any base attack. We haven't really had a unit to do that in a while, so I don't think it'd be too bad. This is just they would never have that in WOTV. I'm not going to say never, but that's just like a little new thing. And then now we're going to get into her her burst weapon skill, and this is going to be super cool. I don't know if Aiko would be here, but it's okay. Alexander gets summoned, shoots a bunch of lasers. Pew, pew, pew. And an awesome way to showcase all of her skills. Now we're going to move on to Vivi. Alright, so now that we have Vivi here, it'll be a little bit more difficult, so I won't be able to show all of his skills, but I will try to. So Focus is one of his support skills. He does an attack after. It's just a buffing skill, so it's nothing crazy to see. So the first thing we're going to do is use his Doomsday ability. I think this will be... I would say this would be his ultimate, or his limit burst in WOTV. Just a big ol' attack, big AoE. That gives him this follow-up attack. So now, moving forward, he will do Embers of Darkness. And that is something that will happen every time he attacks. So again, similar to Garnet. Not quite the same, because anyone can activate Garnet's skill. He activates his own skill. Once he does that, I'll show you the Meteor attack, which is not too different from that one. But once he casts Meteor, he'll have the capabilities of doing double black magic. So we won't be able to see that just because it'll be too many things to see. So we'll just go into this one, which is the Meteor 9. Drops a Meteor, and now he'll be able to do double black magic. Alright, so when I think about getting them into the classes, I kind of went through... So some of the folks who chatted up my FF8 one mentioned, I didn't even think of it, was in Brave Exvius, there are some of their versions that have elements to them. So I kind of just pulled their elements from what I could find there. So Zidane would be Wind. I think his main job class would either be some form of Thief, and then when he's at 120, it would be Benevolent Knight. And Benevolent Knight is one of the buffs he gets when he has other female units on the battlefield. So if he has 2 other female partners, he will actually be stronger, which is just because it's a day. And so some of you guys might understand that. I think his limit break will be something along the lines of a trance. So maybe it's not called Grand Lethal. Maybe it's called like Enter Trance or Trans Lethal. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, in my mind, he gets a huge buff. I don't know if it can be dispelled, but maybe some of his attacks change, because that's the big thing with trance, is that like they gain additional abilities. Right? So then, you know, some of the abilities that we saw earlier, maybe they have secondary ones. In terms of weapons, it's either going to be daggers, or, you know, when the 2 daggers come together, which is like I just called them 2-handed daggers, but really that's not quite the case. So that's, in my mind, that's what it is. His sub-jobs are probably just going to be some form of ninja or assassin or operative, just to help with that maybe speed. Because he could be an evade unit, because again, he does come in as a thief job, and he's of the Wind class, so Wind has a lot of evade potential. Oops. And now going into Garnet. Garnet, I found on FFBE, was Lightning. That was one of the classes I found her in, which I think makes sense. I would put her kind of almost opposite to Amnelis, right? Amnelis is like the Thunder stage, who's water. But Garnet is, she could be starting in as a lightning element with water attacks, which, you know, we already have Reagan, who's opposites. He's ice and fire. So I think keeping in with like units who have like double elements to their one kit, that's kind of what I was imagining. I was hoping she would be a summoner class, because we haven't seen anything like it yet. I think they might be wanting to pocket a big class like that for something a lot later, but I wouldn't mind being able to see it early on. And then once she gets to level 120, summoner turns into Eidolon summoner, maybe, because they do call summons in Eidolons. And when she uses her trance, her summon skill turns into Eidolon. Her limit break was kind of what I mentioned before with Arc, who comes in, does that like big AoE attack, and then every time she casts a spell, she has like another follow-up attack onto it too, which could be like kind of devastating when you think about it, because you have someone like Astrius who can hit multiple units, and then his follow-up attack hits each of those units too, and it does a lot of damage. Weapons for Garnet are probably going to be staff or rods, just because it makes the most sense. And then her subclasses are probably going to be like white mage and black mage, or green mage, one of the mages, a bunch of the mages. We have so many of them. You pick two and slap it on her, and you have somebody who mains DPS, has supportive capabilities. And the last person I know is technically another mage class. I could have picked so many other people. I thought Beatrice as a tank unit, and then I also thought Kuja, but Kuja's a villain, so Kuja would probably be like the 4th unit on a rerun. I honestly don't really like Steiner. I wouldn't have mind the Dragoon or the big blob thing whose name I can never pronounce that looks like Lickitung. But I chose Vivi because Vivi is just a personal favorite of mine, and this is my video, so I'll do whatever I want, you know what I mean? So main job class, 100% black mage, and then at level 120, I just chose the name Pure Hearted because one of the units in FFBE is Pure Hearted Vivi, and it's kind of one of those things where if you've played the game, you kind of understand where the name comes from too. Limit Burst, I think Doomsday. It's going to be, yes, another meteor attack, but it's a great name. Following effects should be something like fire resist down, because that's what it does. Meteor 9 does the same thing where it does fire resist down. And then we can do something like adding on an additional attack where every time Vivi does a spell, the Embers of Darkness that come and creep in. Or it could be like a poison effect where when Doomsday is used, the person takes like a form of burn damage, so it's just a damage over time and something that can't be dispelled, which sounds a lot like Amaterasu from Naruto, which I'm kind of liking even more. Anyway, weapons, probably again staff rods, and for element, fire, just because a lot of Vivi's attacks start off with fire, and meteor, Doomsday, Flames of Darkness, whatever, like, all of that is like fire related. So let's just go with fire for Vivi, which I think makes the most sense. All right, so when I kind of like went over the classes and then I figured out what the elements were, I think that there is definitely a lot of room for them to kind of go into their elements that I kind of mentioned with a lot of easy team building. When you take a look at like some of the fire units that we have a bunch of mages. We have strong tanks who could protect Vivi from, taking in that heat. Obviously not going to be evade, but we have 1, 2, 3, and then let's just say 4 when we put those two together. And they could do like some really good synergy there. But either way, I think it's a unit that fits really well with the element. With wind and Zidane, again, we have more than enough capabilities to really go through that whole, go through the evasion route. The only thing is that I've noticed that there is a lot of fusion in terms of like it's a good mix. It's a good mix of magic damage, magic casters versus magic, like a person like King Jaden who uses like magic missile. So I think it's a nice mix for Zidane to come into. And then if we get Garnet at a lightning, again, same thing. We only have really one strong healer with Resnick here. We don't really have anybody else who kind of takes over that UR healing class. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'd imagine that if you do something like Garnet where she summons Espers and is capable of doing like so much DPS that she's probably gonna come in at 100 cost. So cost wise, I haven't even thought about it, but if we think about like what everyone's capable of in DFFOO, Garnet is crazy strong. She blows the other two guys out of the water hands down. So lots of potential to mess around with it. But that's kind of it. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys even like Final Fantasy 9? A lot of people were like, Final Fantasy 8, I don't know. Whatever. Look, listen, guys. I want my Gunblade. Final Fantasy 8, please come now. But with Final Fantasy 9, there is so much potential. If you guys want to see me kind of draft up the same thing in what I think Final Fantasy 9, Steiner, the Lickitung lookalike, Beatrix, and Kuja, if You know, if you want to see me pull those units together and what they could fit into, please holla at your boy. And let me know. If you've watched it until this point, please like and subscribe. I want to hit one of those milestones. Would love to do a giveaway, celebrate, and continue on this journey that I kind of just started out of passion and would love to continue on. Okay. That's kind of it. Thanks, everyone.